You've seen his picture. He was at the center of it all. His name's Adam Johnson. You probably know him as the Lectern Guy, captured in an iconic photo carrying Nancy Pelosi's lectern inside the Capitol building and cheerfully waving at the camera. Joining us now, Adam Johnson. Hello, sir. Good to have you with us.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for making time to have me on.
Of course. I'm grateful you're here to talk to us. Give people an understanding of your story. You know, we've all seen your picture, and I know that you've been through hell as a result of that photo. Give us a sense of what happened to you, sir.
Well, the brief Cliff Notes version is we should start with that lectern never left the building. The whole narrative around me in that picture is that I stole this object, that I picked it up and somehow made it out of a building where 100,000 people were surrounding the doors, walked through D.C., got to my hotel, put it on an airline, and flew home with it. That never happened. And anyone with, two brain cells rubbed together would see that picture and say, there's no way it could have the building. I still got charged with felony theft, though. For picking it up, I didn't break down a door, didn't go into someone's office. It was a prop that was sitting outside in the public spaces. I picked it up, carried it about 20, 30 feet, sat it down, gave a short speech, and walked away.
So that lectern, you said you only carried it 30 feet? That's it? So was it in the very room that you were captured in that photo?
It was just outside that room in a hallway, under a staircase.
Wow.
So you walked... Closet, not an investable.
30 feet. Okay, so you walked 30 feet, and they charged you with felony theft for that.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Which carries, the sentence was up to 10 years for that. So we had to hire attorneys, attorneys to the tune of $100,000. We were not allowed to raise any type of GoFundMe or crowd support. The government forbid it. So we were out that money. They also charged us with 2 misdemeanors of entering and remaining in a restricted building, and it was a trespassing and violent entry. And the video they have, they knew I never stole it. They hid that video from the public for years. I just saw it for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And then the violent entry, I walked through open doors. That video was also publicly available. So we got those 2 charges dropped. I ended up taking a plea deal for trespassing, and for a misdemeanor trespassing charge into a public building, I served 75 days in federal prison, a $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, and a year of supervised release.
Were you subjected to D.C. jail time prior to your conviction?
No, I left immediately. The city was on lockdown. I'd already I have a bunch of friends who are in law enforcement. I was talking with them. We hired attorneys. I left D.C. first thing in the morning. I got back to my hometown in Florida, where they arrested me on Friday. So within 2 days, I was sitting in isolation in Pinellas County.
Unbelievable. 75 days in federal prison. What was that like?
I don't recommend it to anyone. If you can avoid it, I definitely suggest that. But everything is it's about your attitude. I went in and I got to hear a lot of stories. I got to have an experience a lot of people will not see, and will never hear about. And I got to learn a lot about the prison system and how there is definitely some reforms and better ways to treat Americans if we really want to see them come out and be better participants of our society.
What prison were you in?
This was Coleman, so federal prison Coleman in the Middle District of Florida.
In the Middle District of Florida. What was the nature of the crimes of the other people who were there?
A lot of them were white collar, so Medicare fraud. There were a couple of human traffickers, mostly drug charges.
Okay. And so you served 75 days in federal prison. They fined you $5,000, as you put it, 200 hours of community service you've been subjected to, and then 1 year of supervised release. When tell us about the supervised release period? What did that consist of?
This was a monthly check-in with a federal probation officer. This was subjected to random drug tests. I'm a father of 5. I have married to the same woman 15 years. I'm not this guy, but I still had to, pee in a cup in front of a stranger whenever they said, we think you might be high or something. I don't know. On top of this, again, 5 kids, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm a carpenter at the side trade to kind of cover the gaps. And they wanted me to get a full-time 40-hour-week job. And again, 5 kids. I said, well, that's not going to work with our schedule with our kids. So they said, well, you can go back to college if you want. tried to go back to college. USF denied me entry into college because they said I was on probation, even though this is a
USF.
misdemeanor.
Mhm.
Yes. And again, I have a 3.95 GPA. I'm an excellent student, and I've never been on academic probation, but they denied me. I had to fight a year to get back in there. Finally did, just finished my degree this year.
Well, good for you. How much? What I mean, obviously, you talk about your jail time. You were deprived of your liberty. You were subjected to all this supervised release and having people watch you pee in a cup and just endless. What did this do to you financially?
Financially, we're out $100,000 for the attorneys. It was a $5,000 fine, so $105,000. On top of this, it's not just me. I'm trying to soapbox my story because a lot of people got it so much worse.
Yeah.
I have tried to apply for jobs like McDonald's, Walmart's, like super entry level jobs, just to see with this conviction of being on there on January 6th, just trespassing, would not allow me to work. And it didn't. I never got callbacks. I would show up in a suit. I went to go for meetings, and they weren't interested. It's a bad look. On top of this, I'm stipulated within my plea deal that I cannot make money for 5 years off of my name, likeness, and image from the federal government.
That's a part of your plea deal. You can't make any money off of the image of you carrying the lectern?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also my name and my likeness. So it's let's say I get a job, someone offers me a job, the government could argue that I only got that job because of who I am. So we're in a position where, I mean, if you want to fight the federal government, you need millions of dollars to do it. And even after that, there's no guarantee you're going to win your case.
We're talking to Adam Johnson. You may know him as the Lectern Guy, which, by the way, told me everything. As soon as I heard that you were identified as the Lectern Guy and that you adopted that identification for yourself, I said, this guy's not a violent criminal. Because if you were violent, you would have been the podium guy. That's what you would have referred to it as. You literally got it correct grammatically. And I was like, this guy, he's into details. So the Lectern Guy, which is amazing. And so coming up, January 20th, we are expecting President Trump to announce pardons for people who've been treated like you have on from January 6th of 4 years ago. Do you expect to receive one, Adam?
I do. I think that there will be probably not a blanket pardon for everyone. I suppose what we'll probably see is a pardon for nonviolent protesters who showed up to exercise their First Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. And I think that we will see sentences commuted for people who, that the very small near incident people who did get into a shoving match with police officers. And I've been very clear about this for 4 years now. It's never a good look, never a good thing to get into a rumble with police. It's not a good thing. Yeah. But their sentences have been over and beyond what we have ever seen through these altercations.
Yeah, of course. Ever. Yeah, it's in no way commensurate with the way other people have been treated in similar circumstances, especially if they're lefty rioters who are punching cops or pointing laser pointers into their eyes and blinding them outside of a federal courthouse. There are no consequences whatsoever for people who do much of that. Yeah. Meanwhile, if you voted for Trump and you got into a shoving match with a Capitol Police officer, some of these guys have had their lives absolutely destroyed.
And they will never get them back. Like, just to be clear about this, the pardons are, it sounds nice on paper. There's going to be a photo op for politics and optics. It looks fantastic. These people have lost their licenses. We are talking doctors, lawyers, electricians, plumbers, teachers, firefighters, police officers, military veterans. They've lost benefits. They've lost the ability to live. The pardon is fantastic, but we're talking a lot about, I guess, retribution. We need reformation. We need restitution. We need a way to make sure these people are taken care of. These are our neighbors who the Justice Department came across and said, these people, we are ruining their lives forever.
What do you make of the fact that the United States Department of Justice brags about that the January 6th prosecutions and pursuit of Trump supporters is the single largest operation that they've ever conducted in that agency's history?
I think they were embarrassed. I think that they felt like their power was stripped from them. Their pride was hurt because a bunch of people showed up and said, listen, we are the conservative and other groups who show up and protest. We don't do these things. We go to work. We pay our taxes. We don't want a lot of war. We want just a good family life for our next generation. I think we embarrassed them. And in that embarrassment, it was incumbent upon them, it behooves them to not just come after us, but to bury us forever. And I think them bragging about it is a way of saying, you can go to Walgreens, burn it to the ground. You can go to Kenosha. You can go to Seattle. You can start your own. You can insurrect other parts of the country. You don't come here. You don't face us. We are your betters.
Yeah.
That is what this has been about.
Yep. Smart. Your real crime was embarrassing them. And they don't want you to be able to get away with it. So they've made you suffer as a result. We'll see. President Trump coming in January 20th, a bunch of pardons expected. He's promised that on the campaign trail and since. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you're one of the first to get it. There's a lot of people that need that. Adam Johnson, the Lectern Guy, thank you. And by the way, how can people track you down? I know you're on X. That's where I see you.
I'm just exclusively there. Twitter and Instagram. I don't support communist socials, so I'm not on there. You can just find me on Twitter.
You can find him on Twitter, on X these days, at Lectern Leader. Thank you very much, Adam. Really nice to talk to you. Thank you for joining us today.